Teacher Talking Sports, what does, what do, how we live, and let's continue this series I've been doing, NHL Mount Rushmores, where I've been naming the four best players in my eyes in each decade. Previously did NHL Mount Rushmore videos for four best players in each franchise history, four best players at each position, NHL history. They're all on a playlist. You can check them out. Today, we're going way back to the 1930s. So 1930s will consist of the seasons 1929-30 to 1938-39. So in alphabetical order by last name, I decided to include Charlie Conacher, Busher Jackson, Eddie Shore, and Tiny Thompson. Those are the four. More on them in a little bit. Few honorable mentions include Nels Stewart, Dit Clapper, Marty Barry, just to name a few. But let's get into the four I chose. Again, alphabetical order by last name, starting with Charlie Conacher. Conacher played the first 9 seasons in the decade with the Toronto Maple Leafs, the last season with the Detroit Red Wings. Conacher was 3 times named to the first NHL All-Star team, and he did have Hart Trophy finishes of 2nd and 4th in the decade. If we take a look at his season-by-season numbers, so played 12 seasons in the league, so the first 10 were in the 1930s decade, but 368 games played, 207 goals, 139 assists, 346 points. Led the league in goals 5 times in the decade, and these were much shorter seasons than the 82-game seasons we see today. But he had 4 seasons of over 30 goals and an additional 2 at least 20. Twice led the NHL in points in 1933-34 and 1934-35 when he had over 50 in both, had additional 2 seasons with over 40 points as well. Twice led the league in even strength goals, 13 game-winning goals in the 34-35 season. Pretty incredible for a shortened season. Conacher's Maple Leafs did win the Stanley Cup in 1932, and during that Stanley Cup Finals, they swept 3-0, but in that postseason, I should say, 7 games had 6 goals for the decade. 46 games, 16 goals, 17 assists in the playoffs. Charlie Conacher is the first member of my 1930s Mount Rushmore. Next, let's go with Busher Jackson. Jackson played all 10 of the seasons in the decade with the Toronto Maple Leafs, so teammate of Conacher. Was named a first-team All-Star 4 times in the decade, 31-32, 33-34, 34-35, and 36-37. If we take a look at his numbers from the decade, Jackson played 433 games, had 186 goals, 165 assists for 351 points. In the 1931-32 season, Jackson led the league with 53 points. He had another 3 seasons of at least 40 points for 4 straight seasons spanning from 31-32 to 34-35. He had at least 20 goals. Also did in the 36-37 season. Had 2 seasons of at least 20 assists in the decade. As I mentioned, just with Conacher, Jackson was a part of that 1932 Stanley Cup winning team, and he scored 5 goals in those 7 games in the postseason. For the decade, Jackson played in 55 postseason games, had 17 goals. Busher Jackson is the second member of my 1930s Mount Rushmore. Next, let's go with Eddie Shore. Shore played the whole decade with the Boston Bruins, and he won 4 Hart trophies. I believe the only 2 players in NHL history with more Hart trophies are Wayne Gretzky and Gordie Howe. He also finished runner-up once. And 5th once. He was a first-team All-Star 7 times in the decade, maybe the first true superstar defenseman. But for the decade, 414 games, 66 goals, 156 assists, 222 points. Now, this was, a time when defensemen rarely scored, but sure, pretty much scored more than any defenseman of his era. Was known as a hard-nosed guy as well. Great defensive guy, almost like the enforcer back then. But he did have 2 seasons to start the decade with 12 and 15 goals respectively. Had 2 seasons of at least 26 assists. 4 seasons with more than 30 points. Also 3 seasons with more than 100 penalty minutes. As I mentioned, was a bit of an enforcer for his era. Did win 1 Stanley Cup with the Boston Bruins. That came in 1939. But in the decade, he scored, in 37 postseason games, 5 goals, 9 assists for 14 points. Eddie Shore, 4-time Hart Trophy winner, the third member of my 1930s Mount Rushmore. And let's end with a goaltender, that being Tiny Thompson. Thompson played nearly a whole decade with the Bruins. The first 9 seasons, started the 10th with them before moving on to the Bruins. But he won 4 Vezina trophies. Now, back then, the Vezina trophy was given to the main goalie on the team who gave up the least goals. But he was also named a first-team All-Star 2 times and had a 4th-place Hart Trophy finish. But he was a guy who played nearly every game. He was rarely taken off the ice. But for the decade, Thompson won 242 games in his 463 appearances, a 2.11 goals against average, and 66 shutouts. 4 times Thompson led the league in goals against average, never had higher than a 2.58 goals against average for the decade. 4 times led the league in shutouts, had 2 seasons with double-digit shutouts, led the league in wins 4 times. Incredibly, in 1929-30, he won 38 games in 44 appearances. Was long seen as one of the best goalie pretty much throughout the decade. Did not win a Stanley Cup in the decade, unfortunately. A longtime teammate is Shore, and he left the Bruins in the middle of that 1939 season. Did still had a 1.97 goals against average and 4 shutouts in 34 games. Somehow only won 13 and 21 with under a 2 goals against average. I get offense wasn't quite as high scoring as it's been in subsequent eras, but Tiny Thompson, the 4th member of my 1930s Mount Rushmore. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. I got just one more left. NHL started in 1917, so I'll do the 1920s and then end it there, and then probably right after that, I will get into the NBA Mount Rushmores by decades. I already did these for NFL and MLB, and all 4 sports have their own playlists of their Mount Rushmore videos for your viewing pleasure. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.